Back, it's a vote that could be just weeks away.
Yeah, a rally today not just to legalize marijuana, but to regulate the millions in dollars in revenue it would create for the state.
News 12's Doug Geed has more.
Pass the MRTA.
They're from different groups but have the same goal, getting recreational use of marijuana legal in our state.
It's way past time.
What appears to be the biggest sticking point in Albany right now is not whether to legalize it, but how to spend the hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenues the state is expected to collect. These advocates say much of it should go to communities hit hardest by drug use and what they consider targeted enforcement of drug laws.
The war on drugs have disproportionately affected Black and brown communities. When we look at Long Island, we know it's segregated. We know certain communities have been affected more than others, and so this is just one way to repair that harm.
Really now?
But those in the drug addiction field say this is the worst time to legalize marijuana. Anthony Rizzuto of the Seafield Center says many people are turning to alcohol and drugs to alleviate stress caused by the pandemic. Legalizing pot now, he says, will likely increase drug abuse.
Many of the patients that I've treated over the years who have used cocaine, heroin, some of the what we would call harder drugs, I would say a very, very high percentage of them, marijuana was a part of their story.
If that's what they're concerned about, unfortunately that ship has sailed. We have way too many people self-medicating because we don't have a social safety net in place to give them what they need in times of trouble.
Some lawmakers are pushing for a separate bill on the issue of legalizing marijuana, and they're pushing for a vote on it as soon as possible. Others say the issue should be part of the overall state budget. If that's where it ends up, a vote would take place at the end of the month. In Hauppauge, Doug Geed, News 12 Long Island.
Another sticking point in the proposed bill is making sure law enforcement has the ability to detect whether people driving are under the influence of marijuana. So, are you in favor of legalizing recreational marijuana? We asked the question on Twitter. You see the results here. More than 71% of you say yes. Just about 22.5% say no. Nearly 6% still not sure about this. You can still weigh in on the News 12 Long Island Twitter page.
Culture.
Hi, News 12. I just wanted the voice.
Community.
The first shot went into the arm of Port Washington nurse Sandra Lindsay.
Connections.
Seems like so much fun.
It was pretty hectic.
Discover News 12 New York.
Hey, look, we're happy, right?
A new way to see the best of News 12's local channels from across the tri-state area, all in one place. Now streaming 24/7 on your favorite devices. Discover News 12 New York today.
A Riverdale woman who helped stock the fridge knew that one way of keeping it full is by taking advantage of its location. Because it's right here on Broadway, it's surrounded by restaurants. And she found one way of getting help is by getting people to purchase a meal. Now, right next door is Cloudy's Kitchen, where Peruvian food is served, and a typical meal to donate costs $7.99. The donated meal includes chicken and rice, along with a water bottle and that delicious green sauce. Once prepared, it's off to the fridge. Lee Michelle is the woman behind the initiative and the founder of Moms Feed the Bronx, where the goal is to build community partnerships to feed neighbors.
We thought maybe we can work with the restaurants and they could offer special meals, menus that would be purchased by community members and then delivered down to the fridges. So it's really a win-win.
We're so grateful for the neighborhood and a lot of customers that helping out buying our food so we can give back to the people who need it.
And this fridge truly is a community effort. For the first month of operation, one restaurant down the block called The Last Stop powered it up. And now Jerusalem Cafe and Grill is keeping it powered. In the Fieldston section of the Bronx, Michelle Ross, News 12.
A Bronx man is turning his negatives into positives, starting his own food truck business after being furloughed during the pandemic. News 12's Johnny Caldwell has more on his truck and his hopes for the future.
If you're not happy being employed where you're employed, then chase your dreams. Now's the time. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do it now.
Alfredo Estrada is hoping to inspire others to chase their dreams, starting a food truck business after being furloughed from his job over the summer.
To some people, unemployment, is a step up. To me, it's a loss. I have more expenses than unemployment can afford me, so I couldn't wait for the government to bail me out. So I had to take it into my own hands.
With more than 20 years working as a chef, Estrada began selling food from his home before deciding to start the hip-hop food truck. The truck plays hip-hop music and sells food inspired by legendary rappers from New York, like their burger named after Fred the Godson.
Hip-hop is so real, so authentic that, you know, I wanted to add that into what I'm doing with the authenticity of my food.
Mainly stationed on White Plains Road in the Bronx, but traveling across the city like to this street in Canarsie, Brooklyn, you can't help but notice the bright yellow truck, which features names of iconic rappers like Big Pun on its exterior. Estrada says starting his business is about more than selling food. He wants to use his truck as a platform to help others.
Create job opportunities for people. I really want to just help other people out.
And as he takes on this new business venture, the self-proclaimed hip-hop chef is looking to the future. He says he's hoping to have a total of 3 food trucks in the next 2 years. In Canarsie, Johnny Caldwell, News 12.
Well, arguably the most exclusive restaurant in New York City is now a bit more accessible, offering delivery during this pandemic.
It's a first for Rayos, an iconic spot in East Harlem that's been around since 1896. That's a long time. News 12's Emily Lorsch has more.
It was almost a year ago that we were last at Rayos, the exclusive and historic spot known for its limited seating and chances of getting a reservation slim to none, had just started offering takeout for the first time.
We have people that drive from Philly, people down from South Jersey, people drove in from Boston. It's crazy.
And now Rayos is offering delivery too.
It's something we've never done. So for us to get out there and let people experience it that always wanted to try it is something that makes us feel good and makes them feel good.
People like Nicole Steinthal.
It was just so incredible because it was like this bucket list thing for me. Everybody was just like so in awe because Rayos is like a huge New York establishment and just an amazing place for people. You always hear you cannot get into Rayos, so we were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
This New Yorker tells us being able to try Rayos for the first time was a dream come true.
The silver lining of COVID, that you have the opportunity to get your Rayos dinner, bring it home, share it with your family. Just taking their picture here is like incredible. This is iconic New York. Everybody wants to go to Rayos.
Now New Yorkers don't need a car. They can get a taste delivered right to their door.
With everything going on, it's something for them to look forward to at the end of the day, knowing, hey, we're having Rayos for dinner tonight.
Now you can order delivery using DoorDash or Caviar, and if you're out of their delivery zone, you can still order your food, but for takeout, you can do that by calling the restaurant or ordering through their website or Instagram page. In Manhattan, Emily Lorsch, News 12.
The resilience is as important as the pain, and this project presents both. That's the Bronx.
The Bronx COVID-19 Oral History Project began last April, shortly after the pandemic hit, designed to tell the stories of what people, businesses, and communities were going through and how they fought to survive in this COVID hotspot.
It just helps people to gain a perspective of what people might be going through, to have a better understanding of this pandemic and how it affects people.
The virtual interviews are cataloged online to watch for free in hopes of sharing the stories of generosity, support, and the spirit of the Bronx.
You're going to meet a lot of heroes. These are people who set an example of overcoming adversity.
Like the South of France restaurant, who they say found a way to survive and also support the community throughout the pandemic. Medical workers who gave everything on the front lines, and those who tragically lost loved ones.
These stories are history, and these stories are the Bronx. And the Bronx is burning bright with these people, burning bright with compassion.
They said this project is only the beginning of telling these stories, and that they plan to continue chronicling history.
The pandemic is slowly phasing away, but these stories are going to continue on for years. People are going to read about this and learn about this.
Marissa Marcelino, News 12.
On the menu today, home-cooked meals of rescued food.
Look at just everything that you're looking at here
is reclaimed.
Catherine Reif, co-founder of Soup Angels, says about 60% of the food they serve is saved from supermarkets that would have tossed it away simply because it didn't sell. Instead, it's filling the pantry's demand, which has doubled since last year.
It's remarkable. It's really been a godsend.
About 30% of a grocery store's trash is food waste. Organization Touch started rescuing food from stores in 2010.
It's really rewarding to go to these programs and see just how grateful people are to have access to this food, and it's food that would otherwise have been going to landfills.
Once recovered food is dropped off to pantries, it's sorted and some of it gets cooked. The rest goes home with families.
Since last spring, rescue efforts tripled to fill the growing need. They're saving 70,000 pounds of food a month. But tell News 12, it's barely a dent in what's being wasted.
We still see that stores are throwing out food, and it's painful. You know, it's really painful to see that food go to waste.
They're now turning to the community for help.
It's really hard for us to see, and we're really just limited by our funding for staffing right now.
Pushing for donations so they can do more. In Nyack, Beth Cefalu, News 12.
And if you are interested in helping, you can find the link on our website, news12.com. But keep it here. We'll be right back.
Get the latest COVID-19 updates, vaccine information, and more daily on Mornings with News 12. Get the latest COVID-19 updates, vaccine information, and more daily on Mornings with News 12.
Your winter road trip is closer than you think. Thanks to News 12's Road Trip Close to Home. Every Thursday at 7 p.m., host Gianna Gelosi is your guide for finding the best spots in the tri-state area for a fun family day trip.
Bustling downtown with plenty of shops and restaurants.
Plus, get a worry-free weekend forecast to help you decide if activities should be inside or outside. Check out News 12's Road Trip Close to Home. Thursdays at 7 p.m.
So all we knew was this man was from Wilton, between 40 and 50 years old, and he'd been in San Francisco where he likely got the virus. Today, we caught up with Chris Tillett, who is doing great. Even better, we got to be part of a Zoom reunion between Tillett and the medical team who saved his life.
This is John.
Hi, John.
And this is Luke.
A first-time meeting between Chris Tillett's twin sons and the men and women who made sure Tillett will get to see them grow up.
They're all walking around now. They're eating solid food and everything. I mean, when I was under, they were 5 months old.
Tillett was in a medically induced coma for 10 days as he battled COVID-19 at Danbury Hospital a year ago.
You obviously were our first and everything was unknown, and you know, you kind of set the ground for every patient that came after that. So you will never be forgotten here.
Recovery was a process. Tillett had to relearn to swallow and walk, and he had some cognitive problems at first.
You guys cared for my emotional side too, like having music being played in my room and then having photos of my sons on the wall.
Tillett went home March 22nd with a goal of building up enough strength to hold his boys. That was soon replaced with new goals.
Slowly but surely it came back. April 20th is when I went back to work.
Tillett says his lingering health issues are relatively minor. Perhaps the biggest effect of his hospital stay was that it caused Tillett to reevaluate.
I started thinking about it there, like, why do I need to be so far away from family?
With his company fully remote, Tillett, his wife, and the boys moved. They're now living near Tillett's parents in Virginia.
It brings us so much joy to see you doing so well and thriving in life and loving life, and it couldn't make us any happier.
I cannot wait to come up and actually walk the halls with you guys and give you all a hug. And you're all going to get a big bear hug. I'm sorry. Better expected.
And you just saw some of the medical team even FaceTimed in to be part of this. That's how much they wanted to be involved. In June, Tillett also showed his gratitude by holding a charity trivia night to raise money for Danbury Hospital. Marissa Alter, News 12, Connecticut.
A recently released book is
spotlighting African American women in the ministry. And we're going to learn more about this project today. My guest is the Reverend Dr. Dawn C. Snell. She's an associate minister at the Union Baptist Church in Stamford, Connecticut, where Reverend Dr. Barbara W. Perry is the senior pastor. Reverend Snell, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Tell us the inspiration for this book.
Well, this book, the vision, and the visionary, Reverend Dr. Laverne Hall, and she's out of Seattle, Washington. And this is the second edition of honoring, it's a commemoration of African American female clergy who, regardless of their station in the echelon of ministry, and she is celebrating and uplifting women in the ministry from here, from as far as way California to Stamford, Connecticut, and also in Africa and in the Caribbean nations.
Tell us the connection to Sojourner Truth.
Sojourner Truth, she is the epitome of a woman in ministry. Joanna Lee was the first Black preacher, female preacher to be noted, but she's in the African Methodist Episcopal denomination. But Sojourner Truth, whose birth name was different from what she named herself when she became an itinerant preacher. And she embodies all the denominations: Baptist, Methodist, Episcopal, Presbyterian. And so that's where the visionary, that's where Dr. Hall got her inspiration.
And I understand she's still in contact with the descendants.
Yes, in fact, yes, it's just so awesome because 10 of us from the 2020 commemorative book have been noted to, we have a stall going around the country and everything. We have been adopted. And there's going to be a special worship experience where we are going to honor Sojourner Truth, posthumously ordination, and become the granddaughters, spiritual granddaughters of Sojourner Truth.
And how to get a copy of the book?
This book right here, I don't know if anyone could really see it. It's God is Calling, Sojourner Truth Still Speaking. This book can be found Vital Force Publishing in Tacoma, Washington. You can go online and Google and get their website, and you can order this book.
I'm not someone who does nothing well. So I'm like, all right, well, what can I do? So I started calling all my clients and said, hey, do you need anything? This one woman who I thought was maybe in her late 80s, come to find out she's actually much older than that. I call her up, I'm like, do you need anything? She goes, oh, actually, I could use some groceries. She's 98 years old, and I don't think she weighs 98 pounds. That was April. Go to now, I now have keys to this woman's home. Me and my wife take her to her doctor's appointments. We go out to dinner with her two times a month. Me and my wife call her a new adopted grandmother.
Do you think that these things are kind of just like meant to be?
It's community. You know, it's go out and help your friends. You know, the whole thing, it takes a village. It takes a village to raise the young, to help the old. Who else is going to do it? The cabs have shut down. I'm not trying to explain Uber to a 98-year-old.
So what's it like hanging with a 98-year-old? I mean, is she cool?
She's hysterical. I only hope that it happens in the future to me. If I need something when I'm almost 100 years old.
You got that karma going for you, Evan.
He really does. Let me tell you, we've got a lot more positive stories to tell you. You can see them right now on News12.com and the News 12 app. Just click on a positive note.
We are about to add more positivity to our lives, and I can't wait.
We love following her because of all of her positive posts. Megan Murphy, the author of Your Fully Charged Life, teaching us how to add more yay into our day.
I've been a magazine editor for over 20 years at places like Self Magazine, Cosmopolitan, Good Housekeeping, and now I'm the editor-in-chief of Woman's Day. And I've written and researched so many incredible articles, talked to so many incredible researchers and PhDs and scientists to really break down some critical advice on moving the happiness needle. And I'm not a PhD myself, but what I am good at is fun filtering that advice and make it actually doable in real life. So So here's what the study says, here's what positive psychologists think, but here's how you could actually apply it to real life. Having an attitude of gratitude and making a gratitude adjustment is really one of the most fundamental things you can do. We know that gratitude is mood magic, and simply pausing to appreciate something good in your life, something good in your day, can soften the effects and the hold of some of that negativity.
So how do we add more gratitude?
Okay, so we know gratitude diaries and gratitude journals work, and I say start them young. I have my son here writing in his big life journal 3 things that he's grateful for to really hone that practice. I keep a gratitude glass jar in my house and have anyone who comes over, which used to be a lot more people pre-pandemic, write one thing they're grateful for. And when you're feeling low, you can dip into that jar and be reminded of some of those appreciation posts. And then finally, I ask my family every day at the dinner table, what made you say yay? It's a way to spotlight the good in our day and keep it front and center.
We could certainly all use a whole lot of yay.
Thank you so much, Megan. Okay, we have all different types of Girl Scout cookies, and I think we all have our own personal favorites. But now we're going to elevate our cookie game.
It's a tough segment, but somebody's got to do it. We have Cassie Colgan with the Girl Scouts of Nassau County with some ideas of, besides eating these cookies, what else you can do with them.
So the first recipe we have involves Girl Scout Samoas. Yum, who doesn't like some coconut?
That's my favorite.
And that is actually a caramel Samoa popcorn. So you just make some homemade caramel sauce and, put your popcorn on a tray and dump the caramel sauce on top and kind of mix everything in. And then we have a classic Thin Mint brownies where you make your basic brownie recipes. And then at the end, before you go to pour the batter into your baking dish, break up some Thin Mints and crumple them into your mix and mix them in and put them into your baking pan and bake as the box tells you to bake it. Last treat we're going to make today is actually a trefoil cheesecake parfait. So I'm going to do this with the girls. So first things first is we need to mix up some cheesecake pudding. So we're going to start by actually putting a little bit of crumpled up trefoils in the bottom of our bowl. And next, we're going to take our pre-mixed cheesecake pudding and we're going to put a nice generous scoopful right on top of that. Our next step is to add whatever our favorite berry is. Next step, we need to begin layering. So we're going to add a little bit more crumpled up trefoil.
This looks so good.
All right, now taste test.
Okay, let's try it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Make sure you get all the layers in there.
She just went in. If you need help finding Girl Scout cookies, we'll make sure that we hook you up on news12.com.
Val Ackerman is one of the most powerful women in sports, but getting Big East athletics up and running again during a pandemic has been one of the most challenging obstacles she's ever faced.
What a year it's been. It's been very unexpected that we've been dealing still a year later with COVID uncertainties and front and center health and safety concerns for our athletes.
Ackerman has been Big East commissioner since 2013, but her journey began in Pennington. She was a 3-sport athlete at Hopewell Valley Central High School and credits her dad, Randy Ackerman, for inspiring her passion for sports.
My dad was actually the AD at the high school, so it was very cool to be able to kind of pop into his office during the day, which I did often. And he, really was one of the reasons I'm in sports now. He was a role model in many ways.
She attended the University of Virginia on a basketball scholarship and earned a law degree from UCLA. After working as an attorney for the NBA, she went on to build the WNBA and was the league's founding president from 1996 to 2005.
The early years were really incredible. We did so well with our fan support because it was time for women's basketball to make it at the pro level.
She then went international and was president of USA Basketball until 2008.
USA Women's Basketball Olympic team is going for their 7th straight gold medal. And I was part of the early years of the development of that program. So that's a source of pride personally for me.
You've done so much in your career, from USA Basketball, the WNBA. What has
being Commissioner of the Biggies during this time of pandemic, has it taught you anything new about yourself?
Well, you know, what doesn't topple you makes you stronger.
While Ackerman says there's still work to be done when it comes to women in leadership roles within sports organizations, she's happy with the progress that's been made.
Since I was an athlete at Hopewell Valley and at UVA, and to see, you know, so many people accepting that women are great role models and that women's sports is great entertainment is a far cry from where we were a quarter of a century ago, and I'm proud to see it and glad to see it.
I'm Robin Dean for News 12 Sports.
The pandemic has affected more women by about 500,000 jobs. Retail is part of that story. Count Cassandra DeMoro among that group. Tonight, she is mounting a comeback, even if there was some pain along the way.
I thought that I would be with Ralph Lauren until I retired.
But she was let go in the fall after 13 years. At the end, working for Ralph Lauren's golf division.
That was like my ultimate dream job for them. So I spent my time selling in beautiful Ralph Lauren product to the most beautiful golf courses in New Jersey, and I got to work with the most beautiful golf courses in the country.
Tonight, on to the next dream. Just in the last week, launching Mill & Co. Lifestyle and Home Goods, an e-commerce retail shop, part of a growing number of women entrepreneurs.
My job is to create beautiful portraits. It's a very empowering thing to exist in an actual photograph and leave something behind for your children. Leave your legacy.
And Janie Scalisi's gift is capturing just that. Janie Michael photography is not your average vision, from a woman's strength to a child's innocence.
To capture the true essence of their face and their features without a forced or a fake smile is really what is beautiful to me.
She says even to inspire moms who are so often the ones taking the pictures. DeMoro knows all about that, only in her case it's sometimes selfies while getting the word out about her new brand. One thing she's learned during the pandemic, life can be messy.
I'm a mom myself of a toddler and a 10-month-old, and I feel like if things are disheveled and funny and people are connecting with like, she's doing it, she's like running amok and it's fine.
And Kurt, partly for that reason, some 3 million women have left the workforce in the past year. DeMoro says she is grateful tonight after just a few days of running that business. She's run out of products, Kurt, and had to already restock.
I thought I was going to get very sick, so that's why I went for the treatment.
70-year-old Co-op City resident Irma Vega tested positive for COVID-19 in December, and 2 days later began a monoclonal antibody IV treatment that had her feeling better in just a few days.
A patient who developed symptoms yesterday or the day before and test positive today, we want to get that patient treated as soon as possible with these antibodies.
So far, the Montefiore Medical Center and its new infusion clinic has given this one-time antibody infusion to about 720 patients since December, and says 90% of people have avoided hospitalization. She says they also make sure to provide continuing care and guidance after the treatment.
This is very clearly not for patients admitted to the hospital because of COVID. These are early stage, high-risk people.
The treatment has been given emergency use authorization by the FDA. Dr. Priya Nori says patients should inquire with their testing site or doctor about the treatment, and says it's especially important to know it's available in the Bronx and that many people are eligible.
I had hope in getting that was going to get me better. Which it did.
Dr. Nori says it's important to know it's recommended to wait 90 days between getting an antibody treatment and getting the COVID vaccine. In Norwood, Marissa Marcelino, News 12.
Good.
The summer months treated the Dumpling Cove well.
We were able to do outdoor dining, which was fantastic because we have a great outdoor area.
But when the snow came, the restaurant went back to just takeout and delivery. Lucky for them, that's been a specialty of theirs for years. But now, they're excited to welcome customers back inside.
It's really, I think, very nice for people to come in, sit back, relax, enjoy.
That's not just for the authentic Caribbean food, from the jerk chicken to the fish to their famous dumplings, but also for the decor.
We have a beautiful area here, and we just want people to come back and enjoy the experience that we have. We actually bring the Caribbean to New York.
Owner Karith Mayer tells us he's grateful for those who have been continuing to stop in.
I just want to thank all our good customers that's been supporting us over the years. We truly love them.
And he says he has big plans for when it gets warmer outside. He says they're going to bring back karaoke and live music too.
We want to invite new customers to come to experience the authentic food at the Dumpling Cove, the vibes at the Dumpling Cove, the tremendous Caribbean vibe, the music, the outdoors.
Mayor says this is a special place that he's hoping more people in the community come out and enjoy, especially during this difficult time.
This is a little paradise that we have here.
In Baychester, Emily Lorsch, News 12.
Pathways to Her Rise is a book put together by Marcia Gourrier.
You'll find stories of perseverance, women who share their stories of breaking barriers.
She is the CEO of Her Sweet Spot, an organization geared toward connecting and helping businesswomen of color like Azra Khalfan Karmali.
It's this peer-to-peer support that we have across businesses, but the peer-to-peer support that we have within women's networks is priceless.
The organization raised more than $25,000, giving $500 grants to women of color who own small businesses. Gourrier then picked 9 of those women to write about their struggles and success with their businesses. Dr. Jennifer Pierre, one of those recipients.
Businesses and run by women of color, women period, we don't get the same amount as far as from venture capitalists. A lot of times we're bootstrapping, just taking money from our savings, putting towards our business. And that was pretty much my story.
Hers, just one of nearly a dozen stories in the book, meant to help other women of color.
Stories that you're going to read out of Pathways to Her Rise will really motivate and inspire you to want to keep pressing forward and pushing to really overcome the challenges.
The book launched for International Women's Day. These women say having a network like Her Sweet Spot helped them through the difficult times that came with being a business owner in the pandemic. Arnold Davik, News 12.
Hello, this is Rudy Pensa from Rudys Music in Scarsdale Village, 30 East Parkway. We are open, come anytime you want. We do repairs, best service, best guitars. Come over and we love you.
We love you too, Rudy. As you can hear, Rudys Music is open and ready to serve you. They're located on the East Parkway in Scarsdale. You got to make sure you're wearing a mask if you're heading inside this shop. We have much more information on our website, news12.com. When you're there, click on numbers and links. Love his energy. This
underway to change the name of the Mario Cuomo Bridge back to Tappan Zee. News 12's Nadia Galindo tells us what may be causing renewed interest in the matter.
Well, the governor naming the bridge after his father has really rubbed some people the wrong way. Now that he's lost some political clout due to scandals, some people are taking advantage of the moment to return the bridge to its original name.
It's hard to find someone who refers to this bridge by its legal name, the Governor Mario M. Cuomo Bridge.
It's the Tappan Zee Bridge regardless.
It's the Tappan Zee Bridge. It will always be the Tappan Zee Bridge. We don't care what the sign says.
Now, a petition to change the name back to the Tappan Zee is gaining ground, jumping by thousands of new signatures in a matter of weeks, says Monroe Mann.
It's given us some hope.
The Westchester man started the petition back in 2017, which resulted in a bill in the legislature in 2018 that ultimately failed. He believes the renewed interest may be tied to scandals now surrounding Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Maybe people were searching online for Cuomo because their friends said, hey, did you hear about these alleged controversies with the governor? And as a result, maybe the petition came up.
Mann says regardless of the reason, he's happy to see the number of signatures growing to more than 150,000. And a Rockland County assemblyman just introduced a compromise bill that would change the name to the Mario M. Cuomo Tappan Zee Bridge.
Honor a politician if you want to put it on the front, but keep it the Tappan Zee.
Terrytown residents we spoke to say they are all for a compromise, but even if the name isn't legally changed,
it's going to be the Tappan Zee Bridge. It always will be.
In Terrytown, Nadia Galindo, News 12.